live one here.
Welcome, nerds, to another fantastic episode of the greatest podcast of its kind, the Justice Nerds Podcast. I am your host, Jay, with my stalwart companion, Chris, broadcasting to you from the remnants of the starship Botany Bay. Marooned here these many years on Ceti Alpha 5 by James Tiberius Kirk, but that's a story for another time. So as you noticed from our intro music, we led off with a little bit of Prince today because there was some sadness, wasn't there, Chris?
Absolutely. And it got to thinking, which is going to be part of the show today, how music has actually influenced the comic book genre, and it's actually like the movies and how soundtracks have actually set that movie, and they're more known for their soundtracks. So we'll be taking a look at that today.
We're also going to be talking about what's going on in the world of comics. We're discussing specifically the Rocketeer and Batman versus Ninja Turtles. In current trends, we're going to be talking about the rise of the independent comic book. In movie talk, we're going to be discussing Downey Jr. being announced to appear in Spider-Man Homecoming, with Willem Dafoe then also being cast in an undisclosed role in the Justice League. Then we're going to be doing a segment in movie talk called Dreamcast.
Now, I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm actually really excited about this part.
Oh, the Dreamcast?
The Dreamcast. It's always fun I know as nerds, we all like to throw in our 2 cents on who we think will, play the best role and everything like that. And when they pick your guy, you're...
Well, why don't you explain what Dreamcast is?
All right, so Dreamcast is, we're going to pick a genre of comic or movie or could be anything. In this case, what we're going to be doing today is Justice League. Now, James and I actually, you could kind of call it a friendly competition. Basically, the way we're doing it is we were each given a genre, basically a time frame. So James's, all his characters will be based, it'll be an 80s style Justice League. Now mine, since we picked it, is going to be a 90s style Justice League. So we get to pick who.
And I don't know what you've picked.
Right.
You know what I picked, so you don't know what I picked.
Well, not really,
it's
but...
going to be a surprise for me, so
right.
I'm looking forward to that. Then movie review. I'm going to be doing a mini movie review on The Jungle Book, which I recently saw. Then in Toy Box, we're going to be talking about some new Transformers and Diamond Select toys which are coming out. We're going to go into our mini section of what's in Chris's loot crate. And then we're going to be doing a toy review on a DC Multiverse. If you did happen to listen to the last podcast, and God bless you if you did.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, your persistence is not going to be completely rewarded because someone, I won't name names, did not read the required reading. So we're going to have to save our discussion of the nail for a future podcast.
My bad.
We got fun in store. We got good things in store. So
absolutely. So all right, before we do though, but remember, if you guys have any suggestions, if you guys want to come up with your own Dreamcasts, if you guys want to see us talk about a certain thing, remember, hit us up at the website. And the website is?
Not website, but email.
I'm sorry.
justusnerdspc@gmail.com. So that's all one word, justusnerdspc as in podcast. See, I learned. He can be taught at gmail.com. Yeah, look, I don't... we're already kind of on our third episode. First episode isn't published because we never finished it. But I don't think I ever took a moment to kind of explain what I envision this podcast to be, which is, if anything, it's two friends talking about something that we love. But it's also sort of an invitation for other people who love these same things to be a part of this discussion. Right. So if you listen to this, I hope that you will email us. I hope you will take part in the discussion. So again, that email is justusnerdspc@gmail.com.
All right, let's take it away.
Take it away. The entertainment industry lost a great entertainer this week. I couldn't believe it when I found out yesterday that I heard that Prince had died. It's always, for me, I'm in my 30s. I know that you just entered your 30s. Yeah. So it's a weird experience for me when people that I grew up with, in a manner of speaking, when they die.
Yeah.
It really just kind of it reminds you, I guess, of your mortality. Obviously, I think it reminds me of my age, and so I was really blown away when I heard that Prince died. And when Chris first mentioned, leading off the show with talking about Prince, I agreed with him, and albeit I am not I knew who he was, but I was not necessarily a Prince fan. But as I was thinking about it, I can identify two movies now that I identify with Prince. One of them being Batman, obviously 1989 Batman.
Absolutely.
But the other one being Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah.
Because Jay and Silent Bob were huge.
Yep.
Prince and also The Time.
Yep.
Fans of Prince and The Time. So there's two.
Yeah, no, and like I said, we'll be talking about later, which I'm really excited about, is how music kind of influences with the movies. And Prince, he would take his songs and actually would write them, obviously, for the movie. He kind of have them and keep them in mind. And what was kind of cool is one of the songs that we're going to talk about, he actually knew what it was going to be and what part of the movie it was going to be in. They already kind of had that idea.
Oh, what was that?
The song Party Man. They already kind of knew that Joker was going to be involved and that he was going to be playing around and kind of goofy. And if you look at it, that's kind of where that beat came from, because it was playful and jumping around and everything like that.
As a kid, I really was kind of delayed when it came to appreciating music. And so I was always much more interested in movies. And so my musical tastes were very much derived from movies that I saw. And when I first saw Batman, and I remember, getting the Batman soundtrack and just listening to all of those great tracks. Party Man, I don't know is that the same one that's playing when he's in the museum and trashing everything? No, Trust is the one that's playing
at the parade.
At the parade. And then Bat Dance.
Yeah. See, for me, I liked the two that were actually in the movie. Bat Dance for me was a good song. It was a funny video. I liked it.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of silly.
It was not one that I was like, I have to listen to this. Now,
Well, as a 10-year-old boy, it's like, oh my God, someone's made a song about Batman.
Right.
Exactly. See, look, this is a sign. Batman's cool because Prince is writing a song about him.
That's right. Meanwhile, he's being paid a shit ton of money.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so definitely the music community has lost a legend, and
Absolutely.
certainly rest in peace, Prince. So we can go ahead. I don't know that we have a spot necessarily on the outline to talk about music in
we'll
movies
do it around
or
with
comic
the
book
movies.
Okay, all right, around movie talk. Okay,
yeah.
Sure. So what's going on in the world of comics? So book report, we're going to talk about The Rocketeer.
Yes, it is actually called Rocketeer at War.
Is this IDW? Yeah, it is IDW.
It is an
they
IDW.
are really good. I really like the. I mean, they have put out some of the best in independent.
Yep.
So it's funny because you and I just watched The Rocketeer last weekend. And one of the in my opinion, I mean, it's up there as one of my greatest comic book movies of all time.
Right, and what I kind of thought funny was, your wife and my girlfriend had never seen them before. They'd never seen the movie before.
Right.
So for us, this was my movie. For anyone who knows me, my genre is like that 1930s, 40s style superheroes. I really loved that.
The Shadow.
Right, the Shadow, the Phantom, Flash Gordon, the Rocketeer. I love those styles. I always thought they were really interesting. So for me as a kid, I thought it was the greatest thing in the world, and I would check under people's seats all the time and praying to God there was a rocket underneath it. But I'd never found one.
You still
no.
Are you still looking?
No.
It's all right. We all have to have dreams. We all have to have dreams, Chris.
All right. So this has come out very recently. This was printed in December, the first issue. And Rocketeer at War.
And what are we now in?
Yeah.
April. so all right, we're a little behind.
All right, so
it's new to us.
It's written by Mark Guggenheim. The art was done by Dave Bullock, and it is just story. This is one that I'm really excited about because the artwork and the story, both of them, are beautiful. It's not where one beats the other. They're right there neck and neck.
The artwork reminds me a bit of Darwin Cook. It reminds me a little bit of The New Frontier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Darwin Cook was the artist? He was the artist on that, wasn't he?
I think so.
I hope so. Oh, yeah, I really hope so.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
That's going to be a terrible email.
Okay.
So, basically, but the cool thing about this one is the first issue that came out, it actually came in 3 different covers. They had a main cover, a subscription cover when you subscribe to IDW, and then also a fried pie retailer, which is the one that I actually picked. I thought it looked really cool. Had the Rocketeer on front, had his big pistol, up in the air, and but the story takes place as World War II is underway. It kind of picks up where the movie left off.
I mean, there are mentions of events in from the Rocketeer movie in this book. So I mean, it's definitely a sequel to the Disney movie.
Yep. And what I really like is they're showing off the Rocketeer. They have like a test going on. Him jumping, literally flying through hoops and all this kind of stuff. And something happens. He hits one of the hoops, flies around. The guy ends up hitting the ground and dying.
Spoilers.
Of course. But it comes to find out, it is not Cliff.
Clifford Secord.
That's right.
Secord.
So Cliff Secord obviously gave up the rocket, gave it to the government. The government wants to use it, but they didn't want to use him. So, at this point...
Well, I don't know. They leave that sort of vague in it, don't they? I mean, they just sort of say... takes place during a conversation that Cliff is having with one of his superiors, and he's saying, well, you did the right thing. You turned your rocket over once war was declared, or like the day after you signed up for the army. So I don't know. I don't know if they make it really... Maybe they'll delve into that later. I haven't read issue 2 yet, but I've got it on Comixology.
But what you actually find out is that Cliff has obviously been drafted. He has not been shipped to Germany. He hasn't been shipped to France. Where has he been shipped? North Africa. So, he's over there, and they actually make him kind of thin. Not really scrawny, but...
He doesn't... They definitely weren't wanting him to resemble Billy Campbell.
No.
Who plays him in the movie. He definitely looks more kind of akin to, like, Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, I was going to say, he kind of looks more like a kid than really anything. And but he comes to find out he's actually a decent soldier. He sees a plane get shot down. He runs over... And he actually saves the pilot, and it comes to find out she's an English pilot. And I said she. It is a female, and it's
Roxy.
Roxy, yes. And on her plane, it literally says Foxy Roxy. How do I put this? How conceited can you be when the pinup is of you?
I didn't really think about that, but you're right. You have to be a bit conceited when it's like the hot chick on the side of your plane is you. I don't know if that's I guess if you got it flaunted, I mean, if you're such a badass chick that like you're hot and you can fly an airplane and shoot down Nazis,
right?
I'm giving her a pass on this, Chris.
Well, so this is Lieutenant Molly O'Hara, but they all call her Roxy.
Which I was saying to you earlier reminds me, I'm wondering if they're kind of like taking a little bit from the Batman animated universe. There was a character that was called Roxy Rocket.
Yep.
And she was on both the Superman and Batman animated series, and she was a redhead, and she rode on a rocket. So I don't know if that's a homage or a ripoff or
whatever.
What.
Maybe it's just a mind blank where he's like, oh well. I had this dream where actually he was watching Batman.
Maybe. I think maybe it was where the person that wrote that is, no one will notice.
No. So anyway,
we noticed.
Yeah, we noticed. We noticed IDW. So he goes obviously back to base, and all the guys are kind of just giving him crap for all that he did, and he gets mail. And of course, Betty is sending her love, and of course, Betty is made to look up, not Jenny as it is in the movie, but Betty is, of course, to look like Betty Page.
Right.
Who actually in previous comics has been the Rocketeer. She actually...
She was the inspiration for... Betty Page was the inspiration for the Rocketeer's girlfriend?
Yeah,
okay.
But she's actually... Betty has actually been the Rocketeer. Cliff was captured, and she actually had to go and save him, where all she wore, though, were... high heels, thigh highs, his jacket, his helmet, and the jetpack.
Oh, so am I a weird guy that's doing something for me? I think that's it's a little weird. It's a little. Let's move on. Let's
all right.
We'll
so while we're there, yeah, right. I'm keeping that in there. I think that's hilarious. So Cliff, of all things, he isn't a pilot. He's a mechanic. That's his job.
Yeah, I found that strange. In the movie, he's established Cliff's a pilot, so
he's a racing pilot.
Maybe they'll give us an explanation in the later issues as to why he's a mechanic and not a pilot. It just seems like a wasted resource that he wouldn't be.
Well, he even says, he goes, "I hate running. This is why I much prefer flying." So it kind of shows still.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that they use that as part of the story. That maybe they explain why he's not flying. Because it just makes sense. It's like World War II. He volunteers. The guy's a pilot. Maybe there's a reason. I don't know.
So well, anyway, there's a saboteur, of course. I mean, you can't have kind of a spy, novel without a saboteur.
No, of course.
German goes and steals a part from a plane, and he jumps and drives this Jeep. Straight over a cliff. And of course, guys, what does he have on? Not a rocket pack. He is a flying friggin' squirrel.
Ah, der flying squirrel man, yeah.
So,
das ist gut.
Das flying squirrel.
Das flying squirrel.
So, it's cool, but... You're
not digging the flying squirrel.
I am, but where's his propulsion? How's that going to work?
Well, the physics of it are definitely a little wonky. Because during the chase, Cliff grabs onto his leg, and so they clearly would have plummeted to their death. But you can't have that happen in a comic book.
Especially the first issue.
You got to have the cartoon physics of it. But this comic has a really great sort of Indiana Jones vibe to it. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. Indiana Jones / Captain America First Avenger vibe to it.
Of course, cool thing.
Oh, I did not see that. I didn't get that in my digital copy.
See, that's why we buy print, is because in the center of the comic book, it actually comes with a poster, which is the first cover, actually. That's the main cover that was released. So
where did you get this? So we're located in the Central Florida area. So where do you get most of your comic books?
Well, it depends. There's a lot of local shops and stuff like that. This I actually found at Books A Million.
Okay.
So,
all right.
But the greatest thing happens, of course, since Cliff was able to, get the part back and all that kind of stuff. What do they offer him? The rocket. So now, because he's the only one who can actually operate it efficiently, he is now on an official task force where he is the Rocketeer. So
the adventure begins. That is great.
I'm really excited to keep reading this. IDW
could maybe be our homework, our
very well.
Book report for next week.
Yeah.
Because it's uploaded to my Comixology issue 2.
So I'm gonna say it now. If you get the chance, go on out and read it. It is a fantastic adventure. I think I'm actually, this is a comic I'm excited about.
It's available on Comixology as I keep mispronouncing it. It's Comixology.com. You can get a digital copy, or go down to your local comic book store. We gotta actually go to these brick and mortar places and buy like actual things. We want to keep these places in business so the nerds and geeks, we have a place to sit and talk and commune about these things. All right, so let's go on to our next book report, which is Batman v Ninja Turtles.
I don't think it's versus Ninja Turtles, is it?
I'm just making, ever since Batman v Superman, everything's just V. Everything's a court case with me now. So you're a little bit ahead of me in this. So yes. I'm just up on issue 2. So this is a crossover between DC Comics and IDW.
This is funny for me, man. IDW's been putting out a lot of crossovers lately. Mm-hmm. They did Ghostbusters and the Ninja Turtles. They did.
I like that one.
They did the Ghostbusters, where it was the IDW Ghostbusters and the '80s Ghostbusters.
The real Ghostbusters from the cartoon.
Right. And now, apparently, the Ninja Turtles can't stay in their home, so it is the Ninja Turtles come to Gotham City, and they're with, of course, the Dark Knight.
And would they not just fit right in? I mean, with all of the weirdos walking around Gotham City, I mean, they don't need to hide. They don't. I mean,
No.
You have a Killer Croc dude.
I was just gonna say you could put a bandana on Killer Croc and he could join them.
He could be. Yeah. Well, they had like a
Slash.
They had Slash, but they also had a guy called I think his name was Leatherhead. He was
the alligator.
He was the alligator, and he talked with a Cajun accent. So really, if there's any place where the Ninja Turtles could walk around and just kind of be perceived as not an oddity, I think definitely it's the DCU.
Yeah. So it's the Turtles end up coming through a portal. Actually, Krang is the one who sends them there.
Well, and the Shredder and the Foot Clan, they're all they're trapped.
Yep.
There.
Yep. And the thing is, it's kind of cool, is in this comic, Krang and the Foot Clan aren't working together. It's basically like a three-way attack. So.
Whoa, hang on there.
Yeah, exactly. It's every nerd's dream.
It's not that kind of comic.
Yeah. So you've got Krang with, the dimensional beings. You've got the Foot Clan, and then you have the Turtles.
Yeah, and you're talking about like in the IDW continuity.
Well, yeah, and also with this too, they actually explain that too. So
they're maintaining the continuity from
yeah. Shredder's actually a badass, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah, the Shredder they have in the IDW comic books. I mean, he's definitely a formidable villain.
The only thing that's kind of weird for me in the art is he doesn't have any pupils.
Yeah,
his eyes are just white.
He has like those scorpion, like from Mortal Kombat eyes. Yeah.
Same with Splinter. Splinter's the same way. It's kind of weird.
I think the fact that he's a talking rat, I'm okay with him not having pupils in his eyes. But yeah, that Shredder thing with no eyes freaks me out. But it's kind of the scenario of this story. They're kind of running up against the clock because they're not supposed to be the Turtles and Shredder and the Foot Clan. They're not supposed to be in the DCU,
right?
And there are consequences if they stay in the DCU. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Well, basically they've done their math and homework and whatever. Basically, if they're there for a longer amount of time, I think it's only 48 hours. If they're longer than that, they'll actually revert back to being whatever they originally were. So they will not have
turtle. I mean, they'll turn into regular turtles.
And a rat. And in a later comic, Shredder actually makes the comment, "I can't wait for you to turn so that way I can step on your rat spine." Or he says, "I can crush your spine with my heel."
Them's fighting words.
Wow. So they enlist the help of course, one of the smartest men there, Batman. And at first, he doesn't really know. He doesn't. Of course, I mean, he's fighting Killer Croc. He's fighting Clayface.
So he must think the Turtles are like Killer Croc's like four cousins or something like that.
Another thing too, I noticed with the artwork that I kind of liked is the artwork of the Turtles is actually looking more like the cartoon series on Nickelodeon. If you look at Donatello, he actually has the gap in his teeth. That's kind of a new thing that they've been doing.
I have it up on Comicsology
so
right now.
When Shredder gets to Gotham, he actually befriends a local arms dealer named Oswald Cobblepot, or the Penguin. But
I like that.
But the thing is that's kind of neat for me is Shredder basically tells him, "I don't work for you, you work for me."
Yeah, this Shredder is not to be trifled with.
Yeah.
He's like, you're basically just going to do what I tell you or I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, and he actually attempts to do so. So it's kind of neat because the Turtles end up finding their way into the Batcave.
I love this, just Michelangelo in the Batcave. This is everything I've ever wanted in my entire life!
And the picture, it has Michelangelo riding the T-Rex.
That's awesome.
And, they're all going through, they're looking at the suits, they're looking at a bunch of stuff. And Michelangelo is just freaking out because he's got a giant penny. Donatello's in love because he's got the giant bat computer that all that money can buy.
You know what it is, though, Chris? This is us. Like, I feel like if we could somehow, like, be transported into, like, the Batcave, like, the Ninja Turtles are kind of taking... I mean, they're us in the reader in this story. We'd totally be geeking out if we were inside the Batcave, climbing up on top of the giant T-Rex, geeking out over all the toys and everything. So I really like that.
Yep.
I really like that. That was... I'm not all the way through it, but I've liked what I've read. I'm a big fan of crossovers.
Yeah.
I love just seeing characters that shouldn't be together, have no reason to be together, just thrown together in situations.
That was like another one IDW had just recently done. They did Zorro and Django.
Yeah, I like that.
And that was another fantastic series. I really like these crossovers that they've been doing a lot of. But it's, you know... It's kind of neat because you actually see later on that, you know, the alarms go off down in the Batcave, and it's actually Alfred who set them off, so that way he can trap the turtles because he thinks that they're villains.
Oh.
He doesn't understand. He doesn't know yet because he didn't explain it to, you know, Bruce didn't explain it to him, of course. But see, look at. He's got the little gap in his teeth.
That's right. That's right.
It's cool. Like I said, Splinter's kind of weird. He's still got like the Fu Manchu going on, but he kind of looks more like a wolf than a rat with just big ass teeth.
Huh. Well, really, I mean, I've really enjoyed this. I can't wait to finish it. I'm way behind in all of my comics.
So once again,
that's why you're my curator.
Right.
You kind of read everything on my Comixology and tell me what's good and what's not good.
So basically, guys, these are the two, you know, comics that we've given out. Is if you want to read them, read them. If you don't find them interesting, you know, then don't give a crap and just
free will applies. I guess. Is
Absolutely,
what we're saying.
absolutely.
You don't have to.
But from us, I will tell you that we
will come to your house though and force you to read them if you don't read them.
But I will say it though, honestly, from, you know, one comic reader, one nerd to another, these are actually decent. These aren't, you know, these aren't terrible, and these aren't pandering to...
Oh, the artwork's beautiful in both of them, and I think the writing's very good also.
Right. All right, so what do we got?
Well, we're going to talk about comic book trends, so I guess we'll split this between talking about the rise of the independent comic book and then also use of music in comic book movies and movies in general.
That'll work.
You know, it's funny. For the longest time, it was always just Marvel and DC. Yep. I mean, they were the big two, and then, you know, around the... You know, I'm a little bit older than you, so I remember in the 90s when Image really hit their stride, and... it was all about, you know, we had these characters that had never existed before. We had Spawn, and we had the Max, and we had Savage Dragon.
Oh, I was just going to say Savage Dragon. I thought he was the funniest thing ever. Here's a cop, but he's got a giant fin on his head.
Yeah, I mean, it was just... It was such a departure from what we had seen before, and I really think that, you know, we can credit Image for some of the new trends that we're seeing with characters now.
Like, you know, in Dark Horse and Vertigo and all those other, you know, the low budgets, but they ended up being bought out, obviously, by the big conglomerates.
Well, like, even with Image, Jim Lee was one of the original creators at Image, and he ended up going back to DC, accepting an editorial position there, and DC bought Wildstorm from him, so... The Wildcats, you remember the Wildcats? They were Image characters. Now they exist in the DCU. But I mean, you have to mention Image, I think, because they're really they were the ones with the balls to really challenge
and to put
Marvel
things
and
out
DC.
there that, you know, not only were, you know, something that people would look at and go, oh, okay, but it was actually interesting. The artwork was beautiful. This is stuff that people wanted to read. It wasn't one of those where they went all hipster and were like, well, I'm reading these because they're not mainstream and you don't know anything about them, you know? And
No, I think it was very much about trying to be, in some cases, very, very original and try to tell some stories that hadn't been told before.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about a character like Spawn. Visually, I mean, I think there's a lot sort of cribbed from Batman and even Spider-Man. But the story of itself, the idea of this, you know, we have this very much an anti-hero. This man who, you know, is a soldier. He's killed in the line of duty, sells his soul to the devil, comes back, and a really interesting plot point is every time he uses his powers, it kills him a little bit more, brings him one more stepper. Brings him one more stepper back to dying. Brings him one more step closer back to dying and returning back to hell.
Right.
I mean, what an interesting concept. I don't think that we had ever seen anything like that before.
And that would make you think, too, you know, with the character, that he would look and go, okay, is this really worth it? Is this really worth me using all my powers for...
It's the ultimate bind because, it's either you sit on your ass and you see just the world just, you know, kind of go to hell in front of you and do nothing, or you try to do something about it. You try to you try to right wrongs, you try to protect innocent people, and then you bring yourself closer to hell. So it was a great, I mean, it was a really unique story. So now all of that, you know, Image, you know, kind of came. They've still very successful, but they paved the way now for IDW. You know, we mentioned earlier, we were talking about the Rocketeer, Batman v Ninja Turtles. I mean, they've got some. They've managed to take some really great movie properties, and turn them into great comic
One of my
stories.
all-time favorites. They took the Ghostbusters and actually made like an entire world around them. Now, not only do you have the Ghostbusters, but you have the Ghost Smashers. You have, you know, different characters and thrown into this that normally, you know, you wouldn't have seen.
One of the things I love about the Ghost Smashers, and for those of you who haven't read Ghostbusters, what Ghost Smashers was it was supposed to be like a rival sort of Pepsi to their Coke.
Right. But what's actually kind of funny though, do you know where they got the name?
No.
Ghost Smashers was actually the original name to the Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, was it?
Yes. So that's where they came up with
Probably because there was already a television show in existence before Ghostbusters that was called Ghostbusters. They would travel around in like an old beat up car with like
a monkey.
With a monkey.
They had a monkey.
Yeah.
There was a guy in a flight cap, I remember.
But what I was going to say was interesting is the comic book allows them to do some things that they maybe didn't have a chance to do in the movie world. In Ghost Smashers, there is one of the lead characters of the Ghost Smashers of their competition is a character who very much resembles Chevy Chase.
Oh my God! In a heartbeat. I mean, they put him in a pig suit. You know,
kind of a callback to the European Vacation when Clark Griswold is dressed up in the Pig in the Poke.
Pig in the Poke.
Yeah. We'll be pigs. Yeah. We'll be pigs. Yeah. Guten Tag. My family and I are looking for sex.
Yes.
Schweinhund. So, you know, the rise of the independent comic book has just allowed for just a lot of really cool things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite too, Chris, is Dark Horse, Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, absolutely.
The original 4-issue series of Alien versus Predator. If you have not read that, I heartily recommend it. Forget about the movie. I mean, the movie I would give a C, if even that. The comic book just really managed to kind of capture the world of Alien and introduce Predator in a very organic way. So anyway, that since we're doing kind of two comic book trends, why don't we move on from the rise of the independent comic and just talk a little bit about music in in movies, since we're leading into movie talk with that anyway.
Like we said, you know, with Prince and you know, it made a lot of that made the Batman movie. I mean, that actually made the Batman movie. You know, one of my favorite scenes is the museum scene where Joker comes in and he's just tearing this place apart, and you know,
you got Prince blaring in the background.
Right, I mean,
all hail, new king in town. I won't destroy anyone else's ears with my singing.
But I mean, like I said, the soundtrack to it. Another comic book movie a little earlier, but one of my all-time favorites, Flash Gordon. The entire soundtrack is done by Queen. And it is just amazing. And, you know...
Thank you for saving every one of us.
You're welcome.
Oh, you acknowledged it.
So, you know, the Rocketeer, we talked about that too. Now
James Horner. Horner, let me just... no longer with us. In my mind, probably one of the greatest composers for some of my favorite movies. The list goes on. Rocketeer, Star Trek II, Krull, Titanic. He even composed, I think, for one of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
I think it was the second one.
Okay. yeah, just I mean, we have these fantastic artists that have really just created, just added a layer of dimension to these things that we love. When you think about it too, the music almost becomes a character.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, how can we? Oh my God! I mean, it's staring me right in the face right now. John Williams.
Yeah.
Superman. I mean that music. I mean, when you hear that dun 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 dun,
Everybody knows who you're talking about or what you're doing. See, but if you want to go like old school too, I can joke with it. Think about it. You know, like the Captain America theme song when it was the TV show. You know,
was that when Captain America throws his mighty shield?
But I'm joking.
No, okay.
So, but even still, like I know it's comic book, but it was really, you know, movie wise. Think of like Lord of the Rings. I mean, that soundtrack.
It's
really,
it's iconic, definitely.
Really, what said it? Because if I play that for people, people know exactly what it's from. So, I mean,
what are some of your favorite pairings of music with a movie? We want to hear about it. So email us at justusnerdspc@gmail.com. Take part in the conversation. We want to know what you think.
Absolutely. All right. So let's do a little movie talk. So we'll start the comic book rumor. Well, it's not really rumor anymore. Well,
Keaton's out.
Well, we'll talk about that. Yeah, let me start off.
They heard our podcast and said, "Oh, this Beetlejuice on a glider. We don't like that."
Oh, I don't like the idea. So Michael Keaton is no longer in talks for Marvel. So apparently, I don't know. Maybe he wants to be in, you know, Beetlejuice.
Oh, you know, he's just busy winning, you know, being in Oscar-nominated movies is all, you know.
It is what it is. All right, so let's start.
But so Keaton's out.
Keaton's out.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. We got in.
Tell him.
Robert Downey Jr. will be appearing in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
But I mean, you kind of knew that was going to happen. I have a feeling that the Tony Stark appearance is going to be like the Samuel Jackson appearances.
Sure.
But he makes pretty much what I've read and everything like that is it looks like Tony Stark makes Parker's suit for him.
I mean, it's definitely. We haven't seen Civil War yet, but I think everyone.
Come on,
every person
that kid ain't making that suit.
I don't know. I think it'll be I think this will be a very different conversation once you and I have both seen Civil War. But I was tickled by this in like all the right places.
Yeah,
This just like I was so tickled by this news when I heard this. I was so excited when I heard that Spider-Man was going to be part of the MCU.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love the fact that, you know, Sony, the Spider-Man movie is going to be a Sony movie, but they're bringing Marvel characters into it, just further cementing that he is part of that world. And honestly, it's not a Marvel universe if you don't have Spider-Man in it.
No, and I agree with that. And what I'm kind of excited about, what they did with that, I know we're not talking about, you know, Robert Downey Jr., but I'm really excited that they went younger with Spider-Man. I don't have a 20-year-old, you know.
Yeah, you don't want a 40-year-old
I really don't want a 40-year-old Spider-Man.
Playing a 19-year-old.
I kind of like that because he will be that, you know, the great power comes with great responsibility. Like, here's this kid and he's hanging out with the Avengers and, you know, he's got an 80-year-old Captain America and the Hulk and Thor and here's this kid who's, you know, trying to fit in and how he's going to work his way into the team.
Kind of like what I said with the Ninja Turtles v Batman. He's us.
Yes.
Like I feel as I mean he's us.
Oh,
he represents us in a way, kind of this newcomer to this world and someone who maybe geeks out about the ability to hang out with these people as much as we might do it if we had the opportunity.
And what's kind of cool is they already have this set up. Like, you know, the Avengers have already been made. They're already together. You know, here's this huge team, and he's seen them on the TV. And now all of a sudden, he gets to hang out with them.
He gets to hang with them.
It's like everything that we've ever wanted.
I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited for Civil War, and I'm so excited by this news, hearing that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in Amazing Spider-Man.
Now this is one that I'm actually really excited about. Now to go to the opposite side of DC, they've just announced an undisclosed role for the movie Justice League. And who is it? None other than Mr. Willem Dafoe.
Willem Green Goblin Dafoe.
Right. So, you know...
Who do you think he's going to play?
Well, I mean, there are rumors all over the place. Just, you know, they're naming people like they're actually.
I've heard John Jones.
All right, John Jones is the number one that I've heard. I've heard Martian Manhunter, which for me seems logical, but not really. Now here's the thing too. People have also saying Batman vs Superman has taken place 20 years after Batman's career, kind of the older Batman.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying he could be playing an older Ollie. So, an Oliver Queen. An older
my God.
Oliver
I
Queen.
love Chris. I didn't even think of that. I love that.
And
I love it.
And what's kind of cool is he's already shown, Willem Dafoe has already shown that he can kick somebody's ass. If you've ever seen the movie John Wick, he plays an assassin in that, and it's just absolutely awesome. He does a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and
he was also he played a soldier in one of the Jack Ryan movies.
Yeah.
Either Clear and Present Danger or I think it was Clear and Present. He plays a commando, like a soldier, and Boondock Saints.
Yeah, he was a detective in that.
Kicks a lot of ass in Boondock Saints.
But so they were saying that he's going to be an older Ollie, which would be kind of cool.
Oh, I would love that.
But one that I heard, this one actually kind of makes sense.
Black Canary?
No. They are saying that the Joker that we're seeing with Jared Leto is not the Joker. They're saying that that's Jason Todd. And that Willem Dafoe is going to be the original Joker.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So I heard the rumors though that he's going to be playing a hero role, but
who knows?
He's an actor that has such an expressive face that I would love to see him as the Joker. I don't think that they're going to do that, but again, I think it'll be a very different conversation once we've seen Suicide Squad and we learn maybe a little more about the Joker.
And the one that I heard, and I laughed really hard at it, but then I looked at it and I was like, I know they're not going to use him for Justice League. I absolutely know they're not going to use his character. But somebody brought up Etrigan. He could be playing the demon. And I was looking and I'm like, okay, really funny. I think it would work. However, no way are they putting the demon into Justice League right now.
Maybe he plays Jason Blood. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
I really like your Green Arrow idea. I like that a lot. So whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. Willem Dafoe is an amazing actor. So anytime you're adding talent to something, it's just going to make it better. So
all right, now on to casting call.
All right.
Absolutely excited. All right. So like I told you, James and I randomly picked a genre, a generation, if you will, of time era. So James picked 80s, I picked 90s, and we picked a certain type. So for this one, we're doing our Justice League movie. So James will be using 80s actors, I will be using 90s actors. And if you come up with your own list, or you think that my list sucks and you want someone better, please hit us up on the email. That'd be great. I'd love to read them. And actually, when I get them, I'll read them out loud and tell you what I think of them or if they're garbage. So, all right, let's hit it off.
That'll really encourage people to want to write.
Listen. I have said this before.
If we think your idea sucks, we'll tell you.
I'm going to tell you.
We're going to tell it to you straight.
All right.
So we're going to start with the year was 1980. All right, so this is my 1980s Justice League movie. If I had my way and I could cast the 1980s Justice League movie, who would I cast? All right, so for Batman, of course, I have Michael Keaton because I really want to create kind of a Tim Burton, Richard Donner kind of verse sort of thing. Okay, so Michael Keaton is Batman. Christopher Reeve, of course, is Superman.
So this is before the horse.
This is you had to. Why'd you have to go? Too soon.
I'm sorry.
Why'd you have to go?
I'm sorry.
Eric Stoltz as the Flash.
All right, Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz has been. He's been around forever. Okay,
just to explain at home if people don't know. Pulp
Fiction.
Yeah.
You remember when Vincent Vega goes to his drug dealer's house?
Yeah.
And they have to do the epinephrine shot. Yeah. That was Eric Stoltz.
Okay.
But back in the day, he was kind of like a brat packer. He was like in movies with like Robert Downey Jr.
Okay.
He's like in John Hughes movies and stuff like that. So, so incidentally, he'd be playing Wally West Flash.
Yeah.
Linda Carter as Wonder Woman.
Well, it's kind of an obvious.
Absolutely. This is my all-star dream team cast. Green Lantern, we could go one of two ways here. I think Dennis Quaid as Hal Jordan.
Now we're talking
Green
like
Lantern.
inner space Dennis Quaid.
This is like inner space, cocky, pilot, with that sort of swagger, sort of Hal Jordan. And I don't know if he would have been too young. Denzel Washington as John Stewart, Green Lantern.
Wouldn't be terrible.
He'd be a younger Green Lantern if this is my '80s cast. But I mean, he's a great actor, and I would love to see him play a comic book character. I don't know if it's ever going to happen in our lifetime, though. He's an amazing actor. John Jones, Martian Manhunter, voiced by Darth Vader, James Earl Jones.
Okay, but how would you do? Would you just do somebody in a suit and opening his mouth?
He would be CGI.
Oh God, it's gonna be claymation because it's the '80s.
It's the '80s, so yeah, it's gonna be full on.
You're
claymation.
Gonna see a Gumby walking through next to Christopher Reeves.
Gumby talking like James Earl Jones. Hot girl, Holly Hunter.
Yes,
great actress.
Yes,
just really conveys that kind of tough as nails, kind of beautiful, but very, very tough. Let's give her a Southern twang. You know what? Hot girl's never had a Southern twang.
She was one of the first people I fell in love with.
Let's give her a Southern twang.
Yeah.
That Solomon Grundy son bitch.
Yeah.
I can hear it. I can hear it. It works. It works. Lex Luthor, of course. Gene Hackman, Joker, Jack Nicholson. All right, now here are my creative choices here.
Yes.
Scarecrow, are you ready? John Lithgow.
Now, what's great is if you guys have actually seen the series Dexter, John Lithgow plays a serial killer, and by far, John Lithgow was probably the scariest person that was on that show.
He is one of my favorite actors. He's a classically trained actor. But he's really good he can play a good guy, but he can play a villain. And be menacing. And
I can give you two examples. Look at Harry and the Hendersons.
Right.
Okay, and he's the happy dad and everything like that.
Great.
And then Cliffhanger.
Perfect.
Bad guy and Cliffhanger.
Perfect.
And it's just, you get that, but he's another thing about him that I like actually as a human being. He doesn't take himself too serious.
And the thing about the Scarecrow too is that the ironic thing, I guess, is deep down the Scarecrow's a coward.
Yes.
I mean, he manipulates fear, but he himself is afraid. And I could see John Lithgow perfectly playing that mixture of menace, but then also when Batman's finally beating the shit out of him, cowering,
giving up.
Don't hurt me, please, Mr. Batman. So yeah, I would have loved to seen a John Lithgow Scarecrow. Cheetah, Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
Of course, very beautiful actress, but also very, there's a physicality to her that I think would have been really great for Cheetah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of her kind of again circa 1980 sort of Blade Runner. Daryl Hannah as Cheetah. Professor Zoom, aka known as Reverse Flash. I'm going to go to another Blade Runner alum, Rutger Hauer.
Oh yes, yes.
I think he would. He's just a very good at playing sort of that blend of sort of menace and sort of I'm an arrogant prick sort of vibe. Yeah. He's good at giving off, and I think really would do well for a character like Zoom. Sinestro, Leonard Nimoy.
And this is young Leonard Nimoy. This isn't like old, scary looking, wrinkled bag face.
No, this is young Leonard Nimoy. We've already seen him with pointy ears. Let's just see him with pointy ears and that pink skin.
Give him the pink skin.
And just
the evil mustache, already like the evil Spock. And I mean,
like your shirt, Chris is wearing a shirt paying homage to the Mirror Mirror episode of the original Star Trek. So evil Spock goatee. Yeah, I think that'd be excellent. And starring and playing a dual role in this film, Christopher Reeve as Bizarro.
I'd kind of like to see that, but to be honest, you know what Superman I liked better? Was it Superman 2 or 3 where he's sitting at the bar and drinking all the time?
It was 3.
Yeah.
It was 3.
I want that Superman.
That's as close to Bizarro as I think you and I are ever going to see on the screen. Yeah, he gets exposed to the red... No, it wasn't red kryptonite. It was... So, in Superman 3, Richard Pryor helps... The villain, who I don't even remember what the hell his name was, but Bill, yes, helps Bill create synthetic kryptonite, but it's flawed, and so it has the effect of, instead of killing Superman, it just turns him into like a
giant prick.
A giant prick. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Turns Superman into a giant prick who drinks. He basically turns him into you and me.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's as close as we're gonna get. So,
all right.
Chris, let's hear your Dreamcast.
All right. So 90s. Now, mind you, I kind of went. It was kind of fun for me because with 90s we were able to, to pick and choose whoever I wanted. And actually for Superman, I picked somebody who actually got cast for the role of Batman originally, who was actually they were looking at.
Okay.
So for Superman, I want Casper Van Dien, who is the star of Starship Troopers.
That is a very 90s choice. That is a very 90s choice.
I told you. I went 90s.
Brilliant.
He's got that face, the big blue eyes,
underwear model kind of dude.
Yeah, he would look really good. Now, for Batman, I kind of went a little older. I went with Kurt Russell. And I was thinking, like, Snake Plissken, call me Snake. And he's got that really cool, badass attitude.
I'm going to look up how tall he is.
And
I don't think he's a very tall guy.
Yeah, but what does it matter? I mean, they wanted Michael J. Fox in the 80s.
And they wanted Michael J. Fox, and they had Michael Keaton, and he's not a big dude. Sorry, go ahead.
So for, Batman, I want Kurt Russell. For Wonder Woman, of course.
He's 5'11", by the way.
Okay. So
same height as Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
so.
I'm okay with that.
All right.
All right, so for Wonder Woman, of course, since it being the 90s, Lucy Lawless.
Oh, yeah.
How can you not?
No. Perfect.
They've used her for voice for Wonder Woman. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Perfect.
And Green Lantern's the same thing.
Excellent
I
choice.
listen to the fans, and I actually agree with them. Nathan Fillion.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
I love that cocky, arrogant. I mean, he's even got the damn haircut.
That's the sound of a million nerd boners going up right now, Chris. That's what we heard.
So, Martian Manhunter, I kind of picked somebody who I haven't seen him in any movies. I saw him in a TV show, and I was very, very enthralled by him, but I loved his voice. And he could actually do the acting as well, and that's Christopher Judge. Christopher Judge is known in Stargate SG-1 as Teal'c. He's a taller black male, but he's got that really deep voice, and I always looked at him and I was like, man.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
He would play a great Martian Manhunter. And I always thought
he'd be perfect.
Now, going 90s once again, Flash, Mr. James Vanderbeek.
Barry.
It'd be a Barry Allen.
Right? Blonde hair,
just that,
He'd be kind of a younger, though. If 90, he'd be, this is still kind of
so
circa,
he'd be a little bit,
circa Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, so it'd be around there. Now, Aquaman, I did one with Lucy Lawless as a Num. I think that Aquaman, Kevin Sorbo.
Yes!
I could see him as Aquaman, and he's got that hair, and, because he did, like, what did he do? He did Call the Conqueror.
Call the Conqueror, that's right.
Kind of that barbarian spirit. And...
You can catch, incidentally, you can now catch Kevin Sorbo on the Hallmark Channel making some very, like, ultra, super religious Christian movie.
Kevin Sorbo, you could have been Aquaman, but no.
No.
All right, so now here are my villains. Now, with our rumors and everything that, I thought about it, and I thought a younger Willem Dafoe would have been great for the Joker.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Absolutely. Lex Luthor, going 90s again, Arnold Vosloo.
The Mummy.
Yes.
The Mummy. Yeah.
But he was also the prick boyfriend in Titanic. Yeah, I've seen it. So...
No. That was Billy Zane.
No, you're right.
That was Billy Zane.
So we're going to have one of those guys.
So are they both going to be playing him?
Maybe. I don't know.
All right. No, you got to make it.
Still.
No, man. You
got
to make a decision.
Arnold
Vosloo or Billy Zane?
What are you going to go? Arnold Vosloo.
Arnold Vosloo. Okay.
So we keep
also
it there.
played Darkman.
Yes.
Did you not play Darkman in the second movie?
Now, my Scarecrow.
Let's hear it.
This is a person that I've always thought about. Now, Scarecrow is my all-time favorite Batman villain. I always thought it was kind of weird. Here's this really thin guy. He's not really liked in school. He's been picked on his entire life. So what does he want to do? He wants to instill fear in these people and make them respect him. And, not for nothing, but when Nolan went and picked Cillian Murphy, he's such a pretty boy. I was like, no, that does not fit the character. It does not do anything.
No one would be picking on this man.
No,
this
not
man
at all.
Is beautiful.
So who do I pick on? Who do I pick? The one person the world picks on, and that's Steve Buscemi. Here's this thin guy.
All right, I could see that.
People are just, always picking on him, always looking down on him, and,
I could see that.
him finally getting back on people, and I think it would be really cool to see.
Where has he played a villain before? Have we seen him play
he played
in Fargo. He played. I know he played kind of a villain.
Kind of a villain in Con Air. He was that mass murderer Garland Green.
Oh, you're right.
But he ends up being a nice guy, and he's playing dollies with the little girl. So he doesn't eat her. But that's good. Now,
that's how I measure, goodness in someone, whether or not you eat children.
All right. So, for Cheetah, I actually kind of went the other way. I thought of somebody who would be kind of cool to, go against Lucy Lawless. But, for me, I'm one of those people, if the actor fits, I don't care about skin color.
You must have quit?
Anything. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Wow, you had to go there. But with Cheetah, I picked Vivica A. Fox. I can see that because she was in the Kill Bill movies, and she's just, this roaring girl. She'll kick your ass, but she's very beautiful to look at. Now,
you'll love every minute of it. She'll kick your ass, but you'll love every minute of it.
Now, see, you used one of the characters one of the actors that I used, but Black Manta, I thought Denzel Washington would be great as Black Manta.
You're right. Yeah.
So, I would love to see him,
I like that.
Being pissed off at Kevin Sorbo. Yeah, and
he'd be older. He'd
punching
be older.
Kevin Sorbo in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So, now my Sinestro, I went with Michael Ironside.
Okay, yeah. Bad guy from Total Recall, and the commander in the Sarge in Starship Troopers.
Yeah, he was also in Top Gun as Joker.
Yeah.
So, he's got, I think he could, especially with him and Nathan Fillion, he's this war veteran. He can tell Nathan Fillion basically to go to hell because he's done it.
Yeah.
And then my last but not least, so is Captain Boomerang. I wanted to use someone different that not many people have used. Now I'm excited to see what Jai Courtney brings to Captain Boomerang. But
Please say Paul Hogan. Please say Paul Hogan. Please say Paul Hogan.
No, I went with Mel Gibson.
The
original crazy Australian Mel Gibson.
Oh, nice.
Now, like I said, I kind of see the
original crazy Australian.
The original crazy Australian. So that was kind of my pick. Now, I want to hear yours. I want to see what genres you guys use.
I want to hear who they think won.
Yeah,
I want to hear who won. Whose Dreamcast are you voting for? Are you going to vote for Chris? Or are you going to vote for mine? Let's hear you at Just Us Nerds PC at gmail.com. Eventually,
there we go.
Come a little more
there
smooth.
We go.
I have the seizures have become less and less frequent now. So
all right. All right, so why don't we move on? We're actually going to go to Toy Box.
We'll leave the movie review then for another time. Then,
yeah,
we're
running
a little short on time. So a couple things that we're really excited about that are coming out. Some toy news. I just found this at Big Bad Toy Store this week.
If you haven't been to Big Bad Toy Store, let me tell you, this website has everything.
It will kill your wallet.
Oh my God.
It will kill your wallet, and your wife may divorce you.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's kind of what happened.
Yeah. So, but just if you're okay with those two things, just go.
Yeah.
Because it's
just
really
do it. Just spend your money.
So, the first, I'm going to reverse order here. So Diamond Select Toys is coming out with a 7-inch Kanunian Singh. Khan! Yeah. Oh man. And as personified by the legendary Ricardo Montalban. I have to. Pardon me. I have to, Chris. I have to pay homage to my Latin roots. Played epically by the legendary Ricardo Montalban. Oh man, it's just fantastic.
You got to hear the guitar after.
Bring. Yeah. So we get with this toy. So this is an action figure that depicts his appearance from Star Trek.
I see his mullet. His mullet's nice.
He's got the mullet. Hey man, it was the 1980s. That was it. That was, as the kids say, the shit.
Yes.
I already own one of the a Khan figure that was put out by Art Asylum. This looks like it has a bit more articulation. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read the description. So this is a Diamond Select release. They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but revenge has never been this cool. Measuring approximately 7 inches, this action figure of Kanunian Singh, as he appeared in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, comes with the command chair of the USS Reliant.
Which is really cool to me. I actually love that this piece actually comes with something to actually put him with. It's not just a figure you throw up on a shelf.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the command chair of the USS Reliant, as well as numerous interchangeable parts with alternate legs, arms, hands, and a head, you have him seated or standing, shaking his fist or crossing his arms, shouting or savoring his victory. Just in time for the film's 35th anniversary, this figure comes packaged in display-ready select packaging with spine artwork and easy shelf reference. You are in a position to demand nothing. I, on the other hand, am in a position to grant nothing. Oh, such an epic role, iconic. I am so excited for this figure. $21.99 at Big Bad Toy Store.
Wow. Okay, not actually, and the price is not terrible.
All right, so we want to move on to the next one.
Yes.
So this is a 2-pack, actually, although I think that these are available singularly, but I think one of them is sold out. So this is Transformers Generation Titans Return Leader Wave. So this is 2 figures. We have Blaster, Autobot Blaster, and then we also have Power Master Optimus Prime. Chris, I know you're not as big of a Transformers fan as
I went
as
more
I am.
of G.I. Joe and Thundercats, so...
Although I loved when they crossed over. Did
Yeah,
you ever
yeah,
have
yeah.
any of the comic books where the two crossed over? These are just 2 beautiful looking figures.
Even I will look at it, as a figure collector, these are just... the only thing that always used to piss me off about these figures... It would take you an hour and a half to make them transform.
Well, yeah, and the thing is now whenever I buy Transformers, I don't even bother transforming them into cars now because I know I'm never going to get them back into robot mode. So they're just kind of permanently just in.
They're robots who are robots.
They're robots who are robots. Exactly.
Yeah.
These, the way that they have these, these are kind of callbacks to earlier incarnations from the 1980s, and the technology for the toy making has just gotten so much better.
Why isn't he an MP3 player then?
Right? No, I think he's probably an MP3 player boombox.
You know what I think he's playing?
We're talking about Blaster.
I think Blaster's a diskette. Where he's got the little CD diskette, the floppy disk.
Yeah.
Where you put that in.
That's
what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Might be. Could be. Possibly.
Could be.
Maybe.
Could be.
Yeah, so these look really
Does
cool.
Optimus come with that little robot?
No, see, you're talking about Roller.
Yeah, Roller.
No, I don't think so. No, this is Power Master Optimus Prime. So,
all right, what is this?
The original Power Master, his thing was, so he could originally turn into regular size Optimus Prime, but then he would combine with his trailer and turn into Super Robot Optimus Prime.
Super Robot.
It's like, twice the fun of a robot at,
twice the
cost.
price.
Yeah, twice the price. Yeah, exactly. But his trailer would turn into a base.
Oh, that's cool. So it does like a battle station kind of thing.
So, these figures have 3 different alt modes. So very, very cool.
Nice.
$89.99 for both. A little pricey.
For both.
For both.
So can you... Oh, so they only come in 2.
No, you can buy them singularly. I can look it up right now to tell you that.
So basically,
$46.99 for Blaster by himself. Optimus Prime also $46.99.
But
pre-order,
he
is gone. Yeah, that's a pretty sweet.
So now you're gonna have to go to the
figure.
shows to try to find them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what's next?
Well, we're gonna talk about what's in Chris's loot crate. That's
right.
a mini section in our toy box. So you want to explain to
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
what
If you guys aren't familiar, Loot Crate is a monthly subscription. That's kind of a big thing now, are the monthly subscriptions. This one is basically generated towards nerds, towards us. And
our people.
Yes. And each month they do a theme. It could be anything. I've seen heroes, I've seen villains, I've seen invasion, like a sci-fi kind of one.
They have different themes each month.
Different themes each month. And everything coincides with the theme in the box.
And these are like one-of-a-kind, sort of limited edition items.
Yes, a lot of these are made specifically for Loot Crate and Loot Crate only. Mm-hmm. So this month's theme was Quest. So you think, Lord of the Rings, Labyrinth.
National Lampoon's Vacation.
Exactly.
It's a quest.
Right.
It's a quest for fun. I'm going to have fun, and you're going to have fun. We're all going to have so much fucking fun, we're going to need plastic surgery to remove our goddamn smiles. You're going to be whistling zippity-doo-dah out of your asshole. I'm sorry, I had to go there. That kind of quest, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so something to start off, nothing too huge, but new video game coming out. If you guys are a fan of Uncharted, obviously Uncharted 4 is coming out. Gave us a little poster. It's cool. I mean, it's just a little poster. Probably put it up somewhere. Now, another thing too, if you've ever seen the show Vikings, it's actually really kind of cool. And they actually gave me a 1-2 scale drinking mug. And what it is a plastic horn. And it comes with little, embroidery and stuff like that. And then it comes with a leather harness that you put around your neck. And then you can drink it as your leisure.
Drink mead.
That's exactly it.
And mimosas,
right, whatever you feel like. So I thought that was really kind of cool. Another thing they gave us was an ice mold. And you've seen them a lot, like the Death Star and all this kind of stuff. Well, this one, being the nerds and being everything about it, it is a D20. It is a 20-sided die, but it's actually a giant friggin' ice cube. So I absolutely love that.
So you just play until it melts, or
no? You drink scotch until you win, which is every single time.
Well, you always win when you drink. I'm not a big drinker, but I imagine if you did like scotch, everyone's a winner.
Right.
When you
drink
scotch.
They used to do buttons, but now they actually do pins. And on this one, it actually looks like the shield from Legends of Zelda on the pin, but it has a D20 in it. Now, what's kind of cool with Loot Crate is, I think they do like about 1,000. They'll actually do a variant pin. So instead of the colored one like I got, it actually was like gold plated. So as you can see with them there.
They can't see. Well, I can see them.
As James can see.
I can see.
But one of the coolest things, this is one thing that I always love about Loot Crate, is you always get a t-shirt. Always. I'm actually wearing the last month's, which was Versus, and that one was Star Trek, so I got the Spock for Spock. But this one is a Labyrinth t-shirt, and they wanted to honor David Bowie with his passing.
I'm going to put a picture of this up on the YouTube
The artwork
broadcast.
is just really cool.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's really nice. I love the maze in the background.
They actually did the Labyrinth. Now, what's actually kind of neat about Loot Crate is when the package comes, it's just in a black little box. But when you open it up, you actually have a lot of the opportunity to flip it inside out. You take it and you flip it inside out. And this month, it actually turns into a giant labyrinth. And you're able, it's actually a maze, and you have to work your way through the maze to get the loot.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
and just to let our listeners, all two of them know, we don't, we don't have sponsors. Nope. We're not shills for these companies. Although we are willing to learn though. But yeah, unless
you're willing to throw something at me.
If you want to throw a little swag our way, we won't say no. But we're just mentioning these sites and places because we want you to know where we find our cool shit. We want you to find your cool shit. If you've got a place where you can find cool shit, hey, let's do a cool shit exchange. Okay?
But with Loot Crate, what's kind of neat is it's a monthly subscription. You can get it at like 3 months, 6 months, a year, and pay for it up front. I buy it every month, and it comes to about $25 a month.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, well, it's actually $25, but
okay.
Still.
I'd buy that for $25.
There we go.
Okay, well, closing out our show today, I'm gonna do a toy review. I'm going to be reviewing the DC Multiverse Endgame Joker figure.
I love this figure.
Yeah, I really like this figure too. Some of the Multiverse figures have been kind of fair. This is one of their truly
Now, what I'm kind of excited about is this image of the Joker. I think that's kind of what they were going with Leto.
I think so too.
Because he's actually wearing kind of the same suit, and he wears the tuxedo actually in the comic, and in the newest trailer he wears the same tuxedo, and
he has that new kind of douchey haircut that's really popular now.
The Roger Klotz, as I like to call it.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
Like that, or the dude from Where did we go back to
Yeah, that guy.
Tonight is the Macklemore.
Sure.
Yeah, Macklemore made it popular, and now every dude wants to get his hair
Right.
to look like Macklemore and Lewis. Okay, so anyway, this is a great figure. The paint applications are really nice. We get some
you even get like the eyelids. You get everything. His hair.
bags under the eyes.
Yeah.
We have a bit just on the side of the head to kind of give the impression of shaved hair. It just looks like it's just kind of very lightly been brushed with green. Look at the teeth. Even the teeth and the gums, just very small details that kind of give some yellowing to the teeth. Really give them that kind of crooked, kind of evil smile.
Yeah.
This Joker does not go to the dentist.
No.
He does not believe in oral hygiene.
No, he does not.
The rest of so I'm talking mainly about the face. The rest of the figure is just kind of a flat black plastic.
He's in a suit.
Actually, what I think they did, I'm going to go home and compare it, but I think this is probably, they came out with a Michael Caine Alfred figure, and now looking at it, I'm thinking that this is just, it's a body mold from the Michael Caine.
They put Michael Caine as the Joker.
They've turned Michael Caine, the sculpt on the face is definitely
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
I'm the would you like to know how I got these scars? Well, I'm not going to tell you, so bugger off. So, I mean, the suit itself is nothing, too fancy, but I don't think it has to be. I mean, it's a black suit, so, I mean, that's fine. He comes with this little face
Is it
accessory.
his face?
It's his face.
All right, so if you're not familiar, what happened?
So, earlier on, probably about, I don't know, a couple of years ago now, like at the beginning of the New 52, the Joker pays this other villain called the Dollmaker to cut off his face. And so he escapes Arkham and leaves his face nailed to his cell.
So he does like an opposite Hannibal Lecter.
Kind of, yeah. Sort of a Hannibal Lecter, almost sort of like also a Martin Luther, sort of Lutheran church kind of thing. It was really weird. And so, anyway, because it's a comic book, he's able to regrow his face after going to the Lazarus pit.
Come on.
But he keeps his old face and kind of does kind of cool.
It's gonna start stinking.
Like it is gonna start stinking. I'm thinking
that's like carrying around like a steak.
I'm thinking that, or just leather. Kind of just a big untreated piece of leather. But
gross.
There's one of the covers of the comic book where he's smiling and he's holding his old face and he's making it do sort of the frowny face, and that is the fingers are fixed for this figure, so you cannot move them. They're fixed in a pose, but it's meant so that you can hold the face in that exact pose.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
does it fit in the hands easy, or I mean, because I don't like things that wobble and all that kind of crap.
I mean, not too easy. I mean, you jostle it too much, it's going to fall out. I've had it fall out a couple times. So it grips it enough so that you can get him into that pose. But if I can, I'll take a picture and put it up on the YouTube page.
Yeah.
I would say the overall likeness of the character is great.
Yeah.
The articulation is fair. I mean, you have hinges on the arms and the legs. You don't really have much movement in the head. You can really just kind of bear it. It's very tight. You can turn them left to right.
I mean, what else are you going to need, though?
Yeah.
At this point, for this kind of figure...
He cannot... You have no articulation forward or backward. He cannot look up or down. So I think it's just a swivel that his head is on. It's not a ball joint. The no ankle pivot. Legs go back and forth at the knee. Also, there's a swivel mid-thigh. I would call the articulation fair, but like you say, I mean, the Joker is not a character that I need to have in very many dynamic poses. He's not like, Spider-Man.
Right.
Or...
He's normally standing there with a gun in his hand.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the purposes of this figure, I think the articulation works. So he's kind of in my display case with all my other Jokers. He's next to the Heath Ledger Joker and the animated series Joker.
Now, what's the price on this?
You can get him probably for about $17 to like $22, $25. I think you can find him on Big Bad Toy Store. You could probably also find him on Amazon, eBay. I was just in Toys R Us today. And just to say, as a grown man going to Toys R Us without any children, you will get some looks.
Yeah.
Stranger danger.
Yeah. Just don't try to approach children.
I won't approach. Right. Yeah, I won't approach. Well, fortunately, my wife is expecting, so then I will have a legitimate reason.
Right.
At least for appearance's sake, I will have a legitimate reason to go into toy stores. I was in Toys R Us. You can still probably find them at Toys R Us, Target, and
Does it always
Walmart.
feel like to me, because every time I go to Toys R Us, I always feel like they're like going out of business. Like I walk in and there's nobody in there. Like nobody is ever in there because they all buy their toys and stuff from the big stores.
At Walmart, yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you remember when there used to be Lionel Playworld? Are you old enough to remember Lionel Playworld?
From where I grew up, we had a Dwayne's Toyland, and it was a 2-floor, huge.
That's like one of those kind of independent toy chains. Yeah. How about KB Toys?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you have KB?
I used to work for KB Toys.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. So yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, you go in Toys R Us, it's really not that full, and the competition is just really putting them out of business.
There you have it, guys. You need to go to your local toy shops. You also need to go to your local comic shops because remember, they're what makes the world go round.
Absolutely. We hope that you will take place. No, not take place. No, we want you to take part.
Yes.
But also take place.
Take place!
And take part in our conversation of nerdery. So if you agree with anything that we said, we want to hear about it at justusnerdspc@gmail.com. And if you didn't agree with anything, we want to hear from you at some other email that I can't make up right now.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. No, whatever you have to say about our comments, I want you to take part in the conversation.
Right.
Thank you so much for listening. I'm Jay, otherwise known sometimes as Jay. This is my stalwart companion, Chris. This will be the end of this episode of Just Us Nerds. And remember, if you have to microwave it, just do it for about 15 seconds because revenge is a dish that is best served cold, like Vichy Soir. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Good night.